to Revelations of a Delusional Knitter. I'm Angela, your host. This is episode 96, I believe. Yes. And it is Wednesday, July 2nd. I don't know anymore. I work a 4 on 2 off schedule. All I know is I work for 4 and then I have 2 off. Like, other than that, I have no idea. Last month, I almost had a problem paying my bills because I didn't know what the date was. Yeah. Updates and housekeeping. Welcome if you are new. If you are returning, I thank you as always. And either way, I hope you enjoy and continue to watch. If you use iTunes, if you would please leave a star rating and or review, I would appreciate it. And if you're a member of Ravelry, come and join the Ravelry group where we have some things going on. And now the podcast is on YouTube and will be forever. I also have through YouTube, there's Google Plus. So if you want to join me on Google Plus, you can do that as well. And I'll put the link to that. It is on the delusionalknitter.com website. On the sidebar, there's a Google Plus image. And I will also put it in the top of the Ravelry group when I remember to do so. Week in review. Weather. I was complaining that it kept raining. Well, this week it's been hot. That's not H-O-T hot. My husband and I, when it gets really hot, we say, it's hot. That's H-A-A-A-A-W-T. That's what it's been lately. And I'm not sure how long this episode's going to be. I'm going to try and do it as quickly as possible because I had to turn off the air conditioner so that you could hear me. And I now have all these lights on. And if you can see, my hair's up. It's very hot. I don't know how long I'm going to last before I melt here. So we'll see how that goes. I have a new mouse for my computer. Said on the last episode, things weren't going so well and a couple of things kept breaking and whatever, and I'm really, really happy with it. I had my old mouse for like 7 years or something and I liked it a lot. And I got this new one and the wheel moves much better and it's an optical laser or something, so it moves a lot quicker and there's some fancy buttons on it so I can go back and forward on web pages and it's pretty cool. And I went with another Logitech because I like the shape of it. It fits my palm really well and I really like it. I wonder if I can bring it up here so you can see. I think I can. That's my new mouse and I like it a lot. And what else happened? Work schedule. I'm getting switched to the 11 to 7 schedule because somebody's going to be out on FMLA, so I'm going to be working 11 to 7 for the next 2 months. Oi. Now, speaking of that, this person was out because they were having a baby. That baby came the last day I was working this week, and I got stuck working a double. It actually wasn't that bad, but it's not great when you're at work and you think you're getting out in a few hours, and then you find out you're stuck there for another 8. I think, though, if I ever have to work doubles, I would prefer to work the 11 to 7 as the second half of the double because it's very quiet. I was reading my book and, we were watching some TV and, because they're pretty easygoing about that. I mean, nothing is happening. So what do you want us to do? Sit here and stare at the wall? Like, what do you want? Because we're always good about, as soon as the phone rings or something happens, we're on top of it, so it's not a problem. But, yeah, that was not very much fun. And then tonight, it's 10:30 at night right now. I'm trying to stay up as late as possible because tomorrow night I have to work at 11. Okay, other things with work that were funny. We always joke because I work in the city, the next city over, and it's kind of, it's a city. So you have city riffraff, whatever you want to call them, right? Because we get lots of calls about people being drunk on the street and stumbling around and things like that. And other things that happen in a city. Well, it was before work one day for the 3 to 11 shift, and I was just running some errands and doing some things. I drove up the street, and there's a shopping plaza up the street. And as I drove up the street, I saw this woman, and she was pushing, it wasn't like a grocery carriage, it was more like a luggage kind of thing, but it was full of all kinds of stuff, and she looked homeless, and she may very well be, because there are some homeless people in the city. And as I drove by, I jokingly said to myself, oh, she looks like she belongs in the city. And then 3 hours later, I went to work, and she was on Main Street, down the street from the police station, I just cracked up and I'm like, oh, she is from the city. She just happened to come over to my town. The other thing that happened was, and I think they jinxed me. We were joking about, we're joking too, because we wouldn't do this, and you'll see that I didn't do this. We joke that when we leave work, like, don't call. Because we have a lot of people that call, because they saw somebody fall down, and they're like, oh, you know, I think they might need an ambulance, and you're like, well, did you check and see if they were okay? Oh, no, I just drove by. And it's like, you're not helping us at all. Like, you can't even pinpoint where the person was, and things like that, so we always joke about those calls. And then we were joking, like, if you are leaving, don't call, just drive by. Like, somebody could be getting murdered, just drive by, we're joking. I left work the other night, and I was sitting at a red light, waiting to go across, and there was a man stumbling so bad. He was actually, like, windmilling his arms, stumbling, and going into the street, and going back, and then he was in the middle of the street, and I was like, oh my god, really, guy? So I am able to get across, and as I go across, I have my window down. He falls on his back, smashes his head on the pavement. I mentioned my window was down because I heard his head smack into the pavement. So I'm going down. It's a short little street in between two lights, and he's on the ground. He's like completely wiped out. So I pulled my truck in front of him because this lane is coming this way, and if somebody come around the corner, they wouldn't see him and they'd probably run him over. So I pulled my truck in front of him and put the hazards on. The guy behind me stopped. The guy behind me must have called 911 because I called the regular number for work and I said, hey, it's Angela. This guy just smacked his head off the pavement, you know, think we need an ambulance, blah, blah, blah. And the other dispatcher was like, okay, hang on, 911's ringing. Well, it's the guy behind me. So then the guy on the ground is saying, oh, don't call, I'm fine, I just had a little too much to drink. And I'm like, sir, I just watched you bounce your head off the pavement. And, by the way, you're still in the middle of the road. You're not okay at all. You need help. He was still in the middle of the road. So the ambulance came and picked him up, and I was like, hey, you guys all set? And they were like, yeah, we're fine. And then I went home. But it wasn't funny what happened to the guy. It was just funny that we were just joking about that. And then as I drive home, somebody falls down and smacks their head on the pavement. So I have to call. I couldn't drive by. There's no way I could just drive by and leave the guy there. He would have got run over. I saw him smash his head. He was bleeding from his head. Ugh, it was just a disaster. My head hurt after watching that too, by the way. It was just horrific. Don't drink that much and walk around Main Street. That's all I have to say. Dyeing yarn. I dyed up some yarn. Did not dye up as much as I wanted to. I had the last couple of days off in between the switching of shifts, and I really wanted to dye up a bunch of self-striping. It was so hot! I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. It was just too hot. So I do have some, and I hope to have some more dyed up and update my shop around the middle of July. So for now, I can show you what I have. So I have one self-striping here that I'm calling Melted Popsicle because one of the colors broke. It's a little different looking, but that's that one. So this does self-stripe. And if you look on the Etsy shop, you can see there's a sample of a different color, but the striping patterns that I do are typically the same, so it should look like that. Then I have two on merino nylon sock yarn base. And I haven't really come up with colorway names yet, except I'm pretty sure this one's going to be pink lemonade. Not sure what this one's going to be yet. And then I have 4 on merino and silk. And so here's one. And the silk picks up the color a lot differently and mutes it a lot because this dye is very similar to this one minus the pink, but you can see how much brighter the merino nylon is than the silk ones. But the silk ones have a nice sheen to them. And then there's this one. And this one I love. I wanted to keep this one, but I think I can redo it, so I might make more of this colorway. And again, I haven't really come up with colorway names, but this one I was thinking of like wildflowers or something. And then the last one is going to be discounted because I had a little issue when I wound the skein, when I rewound the skein. So this one's only about 300 yards. The other ones are about 462. But it came out really nice. So I'm still going to put it up in the shop. And it just gave me extra bits for my sock yarn blanket. Because this is what I had to cut the yarn, is what happened. So I've got that, and hopefully I will have more for the shop update. Alright, Craftsy affiliate. I take a lot of Craftsy classes, and I often talk about them on the podcast, and they have an affiliate program, so I joined it. So if you are thinking of taking a Craftsy class, if you could go to delusionalknitter.com and click on the link on the sidebar to register for the class, I would greatly appreciate it. And I will post, I already did one on the Ravelry board when they have sales, and if there's a sale that coincides with a podcast recording, I will also mention it on the podcast. I will also, the classes that I take, I'm going to talk about, and that'll just be something extra for the podcast. It won't be every episode, it'll just be when I have time to do them. The other thing recently is I've had some deer sightings. I've seen some deer in our yard, and I caught one on camera the other day for like 3 seconds because I think it heard me running through the house. I was at the kitchen sink doing dishes, and all of a sudden I saw something out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, is there a horse in our backyard? Because I couldn't even figure out what it was. And I saw it was a deer. So I ran in here to grab the camera, and I think it heard me because it heard when I shut the water off, it perked up. And I ran across the house to get the camera, and when I came back it was leaving, so I just caught it real quick. But I'll insert that video here. So that was my deer sighting, and when we first moved in, we had them a lot, and then there's a company up the road, but it goes all the way to the back. It's a sheet metal company. And they did some more construction towards the back, and I think they crossed over the path that the deers take to our yard, so then we didn't see them for a while, but now we're seeing them again, so that's nice. Sometimes they have the babies with them, and they're really cute. Okay, so that was Week in Review. Now we're on to Revelations. I don't have a ton, because I've been doing some other things that I will talk about as the podcast goes on. But I did work on the Knitters Guild Association Master Hand Knitter program. I showed a couple of swatches before, but I also started putting labels on some of them, and I blocked some more of them. So this was some increases. So there's swatches like that. So now I have this stack here of swatches. And I have many more to do, and many more questions to answer, and things like that. So for now, I just have my swatches sitting out, because I was afraid to put them in the binder and squash them, and have them not look so nice. And then I have Ravello, and that's pretty much all I've knit on recently. So I will show you that, and it's almost, the body's almost done. I shouldn't say it's almost done. The body is almost done. I'm on the ribbing! Yay! So this is Ravello. And what I thought would happen, if you've been watching for a while, I think there was a podcast episode when I wound this yarn, I noticed it. This yarn is Knit Picks kettle dyed. And this was back when they started discontinuing it. And I think this is why, because they started having issues with making the kettle dye. So the kettle dye is soot, and it should look like this. And this particular skein looked weird, and when I wound it, it looked really weird. And as I got towards the end of winding it, I had a black line on my finger where I was tensioning the yarn. And I'm sure you can see this definitive line right here, where all of a sudden it's black. But I think in this sweater it'll work fine, because I have the top part, and then almost an equal amount of this grayish soot color, and then I'll have almost the same amount on the black. The other thing I was going to do with this is when I'm done with the whole sweater, when I go to wash it and block it, I'm going to just wash the black section and not put the white in there because I'm worried if it's too much dye, because even when I knit on it I have a black line on my finger. So I'm going to try and wash just the bottom portion first, get out any excess dye before I dunk the whole thing in the water. And that's pretty much all I've been hitting on. For spinning, I did spin a bit. I have not touched the Traveler. For Tour de Fleece, I was going to do another loop bump on the Traveler, so kind of got off of what was there. I got another supported spindle. I said I wasn't going to buy anything else, didn't I? I did. But I have been trying to learn supported spindling for a while. I have the Tockley, which is going pretty well, but it's a very different animal. I did have a wooden Russian spindle, but it's very light. It's like 0.5 ounces or something. It's too light for a beginner. So I wanted to try something else. So I got a Tibetan, and what a Tibetan is, it has a big whorl on the bottom. Comes in a lot of different weights. This one's particularly heavy at 2.9 ounces. So I did get this spindle, and it's lovely. And I got that from Wood to Nerva on Etsy. And I don't think they sent a card, because usually when I have cards for things I'm showing, I put them right on the top of my desk there, and I don't see a card for them anywhere, so I don't think they sent a card. That's my Tibetan spindle, and I love it. I also got a little bowl that kind of matches it. The bowl looked a lot more purple on the website, but it's actually more like a dark navy black. But it works fine. So, and that's going pretty well. I'm getting a lot better at it. You know, I can get it to spin pretty good for a long time. And that's all I've done. I did put some little practice fiber on there, but then what I did for like a week, all I did was I sat here and practiced spinning it. For like 5-10 minutes at a time. And that's all I'm focusing on right now, is getting it to spin. And then I'll go back to the fiber again and try and do that. Then I have another spindle. That's crazy, isn't it? That's crazy. I have a problem. So Threads Through Time does not have updates often. So they had an update recently, and their spindles go like that, because you can look at an update and within 10 minutes they're all gone. So that's why I got another one. I got a tiny this time. The one that I already have is a small, which I'll show in a minute, and it's in cobalt. Now, I'm not a blue person, but this blue is like indigo / purpley blue, and it's gorgeous. It's really gorgeous. So, I did get another Threads Through Time. I'm telling you though, anytime they have an update, I might be getting another spindle, because their spindles are just amazing. They're absolutely amazing. So that's a tiny, and I'll probably try and get a medium from them at some point and have every size that they have, and then more. And then I also got from them, once I get good at supported spindling, I got some yak fiber, because yak fiber is very short stapled and very good for supported spindling. So I got some nice yak fiber. And for yak is expensive usually. This was like $12, I think, for 1 ounce, I think it is. Is this 1 ounce? Seems like a lot. Might be 2 ounces, but I got some yak fiber from them. And then, speaking of the Tockley, this book is pretty famous for cotton, and it was out of print for a while, and now it's revised and back in print, and it's hand spinning cotton. And Threads Through Time carries this book, so I also grabbed one of those. So, that's that. Now, you know what though? Since I got stuck working a double the other day, and that's overtime, I don't feel so bad now about my extra purchases. Alright, so that's what I bought. So, Tour de Fleece. I need to figure out what I'm doing. I know I wanted to do a loop bump on the Traveler and Navajo ply it. I just have to pick out which one. For the spindles, I have to pick out my fiber. One of the groups that I joined for Tour de Fleece, one of their options was to finish something. So, that is perfect for what I was spinning on my Turkish spindles already. And this is my other Threads Through Time spindle. This is a small, in the colorway Vineyard. You can't really see it because it's full of fiber now, but that's that one. And for this rainbow bat that I had, this is all that's left. Yay! And then what I was going to do with that one is ply it with this white fiber that I have on my other spindle. So, that was the other thing I wanted to do for Tour de Fleece, is finish up this skein. And then there's lots of other things I could do for Tour de Fleece, but I probably won't have time. So those are my two main goals, is to finish that skein and to spin up a loop bump on the Traveler. I would like to do some supported spindling as well. The support spindle group I joined, I think you don't have to finish it, you just need to be doing it, so that would work out well for that. And then I also joined a group for cotton spinning on the Tockley, so that should cover all my spinning options for Tour de Fleece. The other thing I mentioned earlier, I shut off the air conditioner to record this episode. I didn't have an air conditioner before. This room, I remodeled when we moved in, and there was an old attic access up there, just one of the holes that you can climb into. In the hallway there's pull-down stairs, so there's no reason to have a hole over here above my head. However, what I did not realize, when I blocked up that hole, so what I did was I put, cut sheetrock, put it up, and, filled it in and everything. When I blocked up that hole, it cut the airflow down in this room so much, and now it gets really hot in here, and it did not before. So I finally broke down and got an air conditioner for that window, because I can't spin or knit in here when it's that hot. My hands get really sweaty and I just can't do it. So I do have an air conditioner now, so I can spin. That goes with the whole Tour de Fleece thing, because now I can spin, especially with my work schedule. Before, when I worked during the day, I would be home at night and it would be cooler and I could just put a fan on and open the window. Now I'm home during the day and it's just way too hot to do anything in here, so I finally broke down and got an air conditioner for in here. Now we're on to scrolls. I did do the Twist Collective magazine review that I said I was going to do, so I will insert that here. This is a review of Twist Collective magazine. This is the Spring-Summer 2014 issue. And what Twist Collective is an online knitting magazine. And the best way I can think to describe it is that it's right smack in between Knitty and a printed magazine. Knitty's a great site, but it's laid out more like a website, whereas this is laid out more like a magazine. So if you go to twistcollective.com, the current issue will show up. That's what this page is here. And then on either side of the screen are arrows, so you can arrow through the magazine. So this would be the next page, and then you have the contents. There's also menus up at the top that do the same thing as if you're flipping back and forth, and a couple of other things. So here's the contents, and it shows all of the articles in this issue, and if you go up to contents, then you get the same menu if you're on a different page. So if we flip through, there's also some advertisements, but they're relevant to knitting. And here we have a couple of main pages of some patterns that are coming up. And here's another one, and if you want any of the patterns in here, you can purchase them. The magazine itself is free, but if you want a pattern, you need to purchase it. So to do that, if you're on the pattern page, you mouse over the name and it comes up with some more information for you, and then you can just click Add to Basket. There's also more information. And if you click that, it will come up with the finished measurements, the yarn, needles and notions, and the gauge, and some more pictures. So we'll go back to the magazine. And there's a lovely shawl, and another sweater. There's another sweater, and yet another lovely sweater. Here's another shawl, another top, And as you can see, the photography is really great. This one looks like it was all done in some really old house somewhere, but it's really lovely. There's a cowl and another sweater. And these are all the yarns used in that section of the magazine, and it's got them all shown here for you. And some more ads. So each section of the magazine is split up into different sections like that, like a traditional print magazine. And then here's an article. So if you see an article that you'd like to read more on, you just click read the article and it'll bring you up to that page, and then you can read the article in its entirety. Just going to go back to the magazine. And that's just the rest of the article, but it's got a link on this page as well if you wanted to read the rest of it. Here's another article. So again, if you wanted to read it, you would just click on read the article. And then there's some top picks, some items and things like that they're reviewing. So it's very much like a traditional print magazine. And here's some more of the patterns. I really like this magazine, and it's laid out very well, and the imagery is very good, and I like it a lot. Here's another article. So it is filled with quite a few articles too, as well, that you can read. Here's another one. And a lot of the ads are interactive, so you can click them and go to the website for that particular product. There's some more sweaters in here. It's really full of a lot of patterns. Another shawl, another top. I like this top a lot. And again, that was another whole section of the magazine, so here it's going to show you all the yarns that were used in that section. And then another article on intarsia. And that's it. But as you can see, it's quite extensive. It's got a lot of articles. It's got a lot of patterns per issue. I like it a lot. And then if you go up here, past issues, you can view past issues. There's a blog that has different articles and things on it like that. You can go to articles, and it's got all of them for the current issue and the past issues. And then you go to contents again, it'll bring us to the contents of the current issue, as well as a drop-down menu where you can pick a section of the magazine to view. So that is Twist Collective, and like I said, it's free. You can sign up so that you're notified when a new issue comes up, and then if you want any of the patterns in it, you can purchase them. So that was our magazine review, book review. It's an online magazine, as you saw. The next section, which I don't have any content for this episode, but I just wanted to bring it up, is going to be testaments. And I was contacted by Stephanie at Stitchcraft Marketing recently, and I'm very excited because she partners with lots of knitting related vendors, so I'm going to have lots of products to review and some giveaways to do, so I'm very excited about that. She's already sent me a package, but I didn't have time yet to review the products that she sent, so they will be in the next few episodes. I'll have some needles to review and some wool wash and some yarn, so I'm very excited about that. I'm very glad that she contacted me. That's super cool, and more content for the podcast and more goodies for everybody. Now we're on to Haaaawt. Sweater design is still over here in left field. Beading tutorial. I spent a lot of time the last 2 days doing the beading tutorial. Yay! And when I do a tutorial, I don't just set up the camera and like do something real quick to show you. It is a tutorial. There's pattern and lots of video on the techniques. And what I did was, they're just swatches, but we have this swatch, which is placing beads. So if you were knitting a lace shawl or sock or something, that's how you place beads. And then I did a swatch with several different stranded beaded techniques. And that's this one here. So as soon as I finish up the video and finish editing it, the pattern is done. I've already finished that up. As soon as I finish up the video and everything, that will be out. So it should be out in a week or two. As soon as I finish all that up. I've been working on it a lot the last 2 days. It was funny too, because today I got up, had my coffee, then I started recording some more knitting and stuff. And I was like, all of a sudden it was like hours later, and I was like, you just completely wasted your day. Like, your day is gone and you did nothing. And then I was like, no, you know what though? I really enjoy doing that stuff. How is that a waste of a day? You know? So, yeah. If you want to see any other tutorials, let me know. One's in the works. There's going to be a plying tutorial on spindle. Once I finish spinning up those two on the spindle, I will do a tutorial on plying on those. And whatever else you want to see, just let me know in the Ravelry group. And I'm going to take a little break here. It's getting a little stuffy, and I'm running out of time on my recording time for the camera. So I'm going to take a little break and then come back for Delusional Jabber. And we're back. And I skipped a little far ahead. First of all, we have the seasonal Sock Syndrome knit along. The summer session is now in full swing. The spring session ended, and I have distributed the prizes for that one. There were 4 prizes. I have more donations coming, so I'm hoping to be able to do 4 prizes per session if I get the prizes I wanted. One of the ones I received this week was from HD Yarns, and they do really awesome striping yarns that come in cakes, and I was really interested to see how they shipped them. Now I know they ship them in this nice little plastic box, because I was wondering how they kept the cakes intact while they shipped them, and that's how. So this one is up for grabs in the prizes. And that is from HD Yarns. So go and check them out. They have some awesome colorways. And if you go and shop with them or any vendor that gave donations to the Sock Knit Along, if you please tell them where you found them through the Sock Knit Along, I would greatly appreciate it, because then they know that their donations did something for them and got them some more business. But yeah, lots of really generous people donating to this Sock Knit Along. I'm really excited about it. The other thing I have is, on the last episode, I showed my t-shirt and asked you to tell me what it was from. 3 people entered, 2 people were correct, so I'm just going to award the 2 people that were correct the prize. So it's a pattern up to $5 on Ravelry, and the winners are Stephanie, who is Pure Imagination on Ravelry, and Ruma1, who, I'm sorry, but I don't know your first name. So contact me, PM me, and let me know which patterns you would like, and I will send them to you. We're going to skip Ravelry patterns for this episode, because I did not have time to go and look any up, and we did the Twist Collective, so I saw something. Delusional Jabber. So what have I been doing? Not a whole lot again. I have been reading. I finished Last Woolen Testament by Molly McRae, and that was very good. So if you like cozy mysteries, I highly recommend it, because it's got a little bit of a knitting and spinning flair to it. It was funny too, because while I was reading it, I was thinking to myself, because I know there's the coffee house mysteries that I read, and at the end of the book there are recipes for different types of coffees. As I was reading this knitting book, which was on the Kindle, so it's not a book, I can't just like flip to the last page. I can go to the last page, but it's kind of a pain. I was thinking to myself, if it's a knitting cozy mystery, they should really have knitting patterns at the end of the book. There is. So, there was a knitting pattern at the end of the book. So that was really funny. And, yeah, very good. Very well written. You really felt like you were in the story. It flowed very nicely. And it's just a cozy mystery, But it was nice to have that knitting flair to it. And then after that, I started Insurgent, which is book 2 in the Divergent trilogy. And I did enjoy the first one. I just wanted a break from it and wanted to go to a cozy mystery in between, so that's what I did. And now I'm on Insurgent. And TV. We have 24, Live Another Day, which I'm a little behind on, but I'm getting caught up. The Will Wheaton Project is still cracking me up, and I just realized it's Wednesday, so there's another episode. My Name is Earl, I finished on Netflix, and I was not very happy with the ending. As Roy from the IT Crowd says, I did not care for it. I don't think they knew they were getting canceled. It just ended. Like, it was an episode that did not have a conclusion, and it ended. I don't like that. I don't even care if the ending is really stupid, as long as it ends. I don't like things that don't end. Very Sheldon-esque like that. So, yeah, I did finish that. The whole series in itself I enjoyed a lot, but I was not too happy with the ending. Falling Skies is back on. There were 2 episodes of that I watched the other day. And Under the Dome is probably started, because now it's July. Time is flying by this year. Defiance also probably started, because that was also starting in June. I haven't watched that one yet. The other one I mentioned previously that had David Tennant in it, again, I don't know what network, but it's Grace Point. That's that one that I was talking about. So I did go and look up the name of it, but I'm not sure what network it's on, so I gotta find that one. And that's it. So I think that's it for this episode. So please, if you're interested in beading at all, please check out the beading tutorial, because I did spend many, many hours working on it, and now I'm spending many, many hours editing it. But yeah, I like to do, when I do a tutorial, I like it to really be a tutorial, not just, a 2-minute YouTube video of half of the information that you need. I really like it to be all of the information that you need to do something. And I'd like to do a lot more in the future, because I really enjoy putting those together and doing them. So if you have any suggestions for those, please, you can PM me, you can email me, you can go on the Ravelry board and post it, whatever. And I think that's it for this episode. So maybe next time you see me, Ravella will have some sort of a sleeve. And I will be plying yarn and have dyed more yarn. That would be fantastic. So I'm assuming recording schedule will stay on track, but I am going to be on the 11 to 7 schedule for the next 2 months, and the last time I did that for 2 weeks, it did not go well at all. So we'll have to see how that goes. So I thank you for joining me. I hope you are not hot. I can't wait to put the air conditioner back on. And happy knitting and spinning.